everybody, to our AMA today. Today we're going to be, I'm going to do some recaps from this week, some announcements that have been made already, and then John's going to give you a bit of an update on how the raise is going. As we get started, I just wanted everyone to remember that neither John or I are financial advisors. We like everyone to do your own research, and we certainly want everyone to be comfortable about whatever investment decisions you make. So we're more than prepared to talk to you and answer questions today, but just remember that what we're offering isn't financial advice. So we are looking to start doing a bit of a weekly AMA with the community. So we understand that we're a small group, but we are from many different countries. So sometimes organizing time that is convenient for everyone is difficult, but we'll be sending out a few polls later this week and basically fill out what's convenient for you, and we'll try and sort of accommodate everyone as much as possible. In terms of some of the recaps of announcements that we've made this week, I did want to touch on sort of our team at Staked. We have engaged the services of a couple consultants to basically assist us in moving the project forward. One gentleman specializes in marketing and launch support, which is someone that we're really happy to have kind of join the team. He's been working with John a little bit this week, has created a pitch deck, and basically started to create some investor meetings and get some things organized. So we envision that this person will be able to offer us assistance in engaging both our pre-sale and private investors to the raise, and that work is primarily going to start this coming week. We're also been talking with basically a brand and website development consultant, and this is something we're really excited about, and we haven't quite inked the contract here, but we have been discussing what it might look like, and the idea of having some brand consultation that takes us through not only the launch, but the next 6 months and the development of the app, and tying it all together into something that's really fantastic is really exciting. So we can't say much more yet about this, but it will be an exciting announcement when we get to share more with you on it. I did want to touch on the different launch rounds. So in this raise, we do have our private sale and a pre-sale. So our private sale has 4 investments of 5 plus BNB. That is looking at a 450 billion token price per BNB. For our pre-sale, which is a 0.2 to 5 BNB threshold, that is giving 350 billion worth of tokens. And our public launch is still at that 297.5 billion. A bit of a strange number, but that's how the calculation worked out. So that is still our public launch amount. Also discussed with community around the idea that obviously we appreciate everyone who has been with us since the beginning. So all of the first round investors do have a whitelist position in the private or the pre-sale. And basically that will give you access to either of these sales based on the amount of investment you'd like to make. We also will be providing a 10% bonus to anyone who was a pre-sale buyer before. So that will be a 10% bonus on whatever your new investment amount is on this round. Just to tie up a few other little pieces, we did make some announcements in regards to our previous launch, and we wanted to confirm with community. We have that SDX loyalty bonus in the middle of this slide, which I just spoke to. We also talked about locking our team tokens and wanted to confirm with community that that is still the plan. We will still be locking up the 70 trillion team tokens. And we had also discussed a diamond hands for pre-sale buyers that would be available through the vesting period, the 50-day vesting period that comes after our public launch. And we did want to confirm with everyone that that is available to investors as well for this launch. So all the things that we've sort of offered are still in play and in place, and certainly happy to answer any questions about that, but just wanted to officially record that that is the status of those programs. The dates and what we can expect. I had provided this slide that kind of takes us through the next 2 or 3 weeks. We do expect the private sale to wrap up within a couple weeks, and then the pre-sale will probably roll for a little bit longer. The only change I would make to this graphic a little bit is making it look a little like this, where we are taking bookings for private, we are taking bookings for pre-sale right now, so we are gathering that information, and for all intents and purposes, while the private sale will probably come to a close a few days earlier, we will be collecting the private sale and the pre-sale at the same time. I'm going to pass it on to John just to kind of give us a bit of an update on just how the bookings have been going. So John, I'll pass it on to you.
Thanks, guys. So far, just before we go into obviously pre-launch for the private launch and the whitelist, just want to talk about the team members a little bit. So we brought on a gentleman, Shane, to work as basically like a crypto advisor stroke strategy type guy, because between me and Mark, we've got a pretty solid 5-year business plan for this project. But it's how we get that message in front of the right investors and the right investment pools. So Shane's going to come on board. He'll be on board for at least the next month, and he'll look to drive the project forward and get it in front of the right eyes and in front of the right people and take that forward. Can you just put on the next slide for me, Mark, please, just a wee minute? Yeah. So we've also engaged with another dev, which I'll not name him just now, but everyone will know who he is. So he's basically just now building out the swap contract for us just now. So what that means is when the contract's ready, it'll come across in 1 or 2 ways. It'll either come over as a contract address that when you send the BUSD there, you'll get airdropped your tokens from there. And you'll get 50% of your tokens on launch, and then from there you'll get 10% every 10 days, taking it forward. Can you put the next slide up, please, Mark? So this is possibly another way that it might come to you. It might come to you as a DApp. So basically, very, very easy system that most of you will be used to using. Basically connect your wallet, put in the amount of ENB, and it will then transfer your tokens to you or airdrop them straight to you on the day of the launch. So touching on what Mark was talking about earlier on too, we are, once we get launch out the way, we're going to be in a position to do a complete rebrand of Staked. We're going to work on new logo designs. We're going to get a new professional website built properly so that people understand the project a little bit simpler. So we've not finalised that contract. We've got an agreement with the person, but we've not finalised that contract yet. So we hope to have that finalised very soon. Mark, you want to put up the next slide, or you want to go to the community questions?
On these for a sec, John, if that works. One big piece of any AMA process we're doing with community is just around being able to answer community questions. So over the last week, I've had all of these questions from different people a couple times, and so I just added them in from people just so that I figure if I get the question once, there's probably a couple people thinking, but if I get it twice, then there's probably more people thinking. So just quickly to go over the questions, there's some questions about winnings in some of our giveaways. and obviously the team, we wanted to let everyone know that, of course, any Gleam winnings, any SDX bags or anything will be honored, and we'll be distributing them similarly after this launch as we would have on the first. So all of those things will still be coming to anyone who won any of those giveaways. The question about, do I need to confirm exactly what I'm going to be investing with John? You do not need to do this, no. While it is helpful because it informs our conversations with our project advisor and helping understand where we're sitting currently with private sale and pre-sale. If you were part of the original pink sale, your whitelist spot is guaranteed for you, so it'll be added into the swap and it'll be there. So if you just show up on the day that the swap launches, you will be able to invest, you will have a spot, and confirmation is not required, although it is helpful. I've had a number of questions about launch date, and is March 4th for sure? And no, it's not. So we will ensure that we communicate significantly with community members before any public launch, but we will move to public launch once our private and our pre-sales are filled. So that is, fairly standard. So, but it won't come as a surprise to anyone who's, paying attention to, our socials. We've also had a question of, at launch, do I need to claim my tokens right away? So John has mentioned that these are going to be airdropped. If they're airdropped, then it's taken care of. If it's a situation where it's claimed, your tokens will never disappear, but we do recommend, if it's a claim situation, to claim them quickly, because during launch we can have good volume, and that's where you generate your BUSD rewards, and you need your tokens in your wallet. So we'll be going all over this as we confirm whether it's an airdrop or a claim, but essentially, if you can claim them, you want to get them into your wallet early in that process as quickly as possible. Certainly, if you cannot be at an AMA, we will be recording them from now on, and if there's a question that you'd like to go to community, certainly send me or John a message, and we'll include it in these community questions that can then be involved in the AMA, and then we can get that answer out to yourself and anyone else who might be wondering about it.
Yeah, I'll just jump on for a wee minute too, Mark. Is once the swap contracts are sorted out properly and we've just got them finalised, it'll probably me personally that'll reach out to you. So you shouldn't be getting contacted by anyone else or any bad actors out there. It'll be me directly sending either the DApp to you or the contract swap address. So I'll just DM you direct with that information. Most of you have contacted me direct anyway, so I'll just drop you that message direct so you know it's a legit address that you're all getting. Mark, do you want to just run over those numbers that you were talking to me earlier on about, just give the guys some idea of the type of volume charts have to generate compared to the app?
Yeah, I'm just going to stop sharing my screen here for a second, and I'll pop back in.
Just to give you a wee update, guys, me and Mark obviously talk a few times a day, and we jump in these voice chats, and we sit and we batter out some maths. So, we're always working on financial projections and where we want to be in the next 2 to 3 years and things, but Mark had come up with quite an interesting point of app volume compared to chart volume, buy and sell volume. So I think when you hear the numbers, you'll be quite impressed with it.
Yeah, so I've got this in a number of different spreadsheets, but I think I'll just pull some numbers off of that I sort of have in my head, and this is kind of outlined in off topic. There was a question yesterday from a member just asking a general question of, what do we think that we need to see in DeFi? What are the kind of projects that are going to be important, and how do projects essentially become good investments, and how do they create, good rewards, good returns. And, it's both John and I's, obviously we're from a hospitality background and we're passionate about creating passive income through having a positive impact in this hospitality industry, and helping people that we know and providing a good service while creating a great return. But that's sort of the sort of kind of external off-chain revenue that we often talk about. Like in the UK, for instance, there's 200,000 potential clients for us, and we're coming to market with a solution that costs 4% when the average industry cost is 15 to 30. Now, John and I know that when you're running your business, like if you have a way to save, over 11%, that's a pretty attractive opportunity. So I think that we'll get a lot of attention for offering something that's so low. But in terms of what that means for us, so there's 200,000 potential clients in the UK. We've based our revenue projections that we've shared. John and I are very conservative. So the numbers that we've shared with you are based on 1,000 clients. And now, this is part of doing your own research and what you're comfortable with, but we feel that 1,000 out of 200,000, based on what we're going to be offering, is quite a conservative number. With that, though, at an average of between $500 and $600 of sales a day, that does generate $7,500 back in BUSD rewards to holders of our token. And when you consider that a lot of BUSD reward projects maybe pay 5%, that equates to a buy trade volume of $150,000 a day. And so that's where that revenue, that off-chain revenue, can be really powerful, because any project doing $150,000 in our sort of reward, tokenomic reward project on the BSC chain gets a lot of attention. That's a fairly significant amount of volume for our type of project. So, and that kind of reward coming to users, that's just the revenue reward. So in terms of how that compares to what your BUSD rewards off of buys and sells of the actual token might be, it starts to really show how if you can combine volume with revenue, you get a really amazing result. But just that basic revenue, if we can create an app that is a great technical problem solver that is put together in a beautiful manner that does its job well, the real question is how many of those 200,000 in the UK can we bring on, and then how can we continue to grow? And so if the answer is we think we can do 1,000, well, that actually equates to some pretty significant APY returns on the project buying at launch already. But if we can really boost that and start to look at how do we increase that by orders of magnitude, that's where we get into a situation that gets, very exciting. So again, not financial advice, but John and I tend to be, as I said, quite conservative. We don't talk about what might be possible because we don't want to lead people into thinking. But the truth is that there is a significant market opportunity here with something that will actually not only bring great returns, but also have great impact on an industry that really needs assistance right now. So, I'll stop talking, John. I'm not sure if I can blab on forever this stuff. So
no, I don't. That was good. I just wanted people to hear the maths on it, because I think it's important for people to understand that we hear about this white whale in DeFi of passive income, and every project has their own idea of how they're going to achieve it. Now, for me personally, I'm probably an investor in half of them, like you guys too. I'm probably in all the same projects. So it was one of the biggest problems for me is how do you solve that issue of generating volume? Well, I think what we've got here is a perfect example of how we can do that. And we don't have to challenge the leading market providers. We just have to obviously provide that solution to businesses and let them make their own mind up. And we say even on 1,000 businesses, that would generate a substantial amount of income just for investors based on 1,000 businesses. But we don't want to stop there. We want to grow. We want to, move into America if they start getting the rules, the rules and things right. But what you have to realise too is we are trying to take a decentralised product and make it viable in a centralised world. That's where the challenges come, and that's probably why a lot of projects don't attempt it. But we honestly believe that doing it legally compliant and doing it the right way and staying ahead of all the new rules that are coming out, then we'll be able to provide that income for people. So if anybody actually wants to ask any questions, you can either drop them in the chat or you can open your mic, ask questions, feel free. If you can unmute yourselves. And if anyone doesn't have any questions, we'll probably look to wrap this up in a minute.
See, I know everything's just getting started. Do you guys have a potential projection of when you anticipate having like your first business up and running, the first restaurant or hospitality? What are you shooting for? I know nobody's going to hold you to this, but realistically, when do you think that'll happen?
We probably already, and this is the honest truth, we've probably already had about 300-400 inquiries from potential business partners who want to use the beta test or be beta testers for us for the initial launch. So obviously we have to test this product first. So there's a huge significant interest already, and we've not even actually put it out to people. This is just people within our community that are obviously in the industry already. But with, I know a lot of you probably know my background a bit, and Mark's got a very similar background. Once I start pushing this out, I could probably find 1,000 businesses across Glasgow or across Scotland easily. I don't foresee the 1,000 businesses being a problem. But the idea is we're aiming for 6 to 9 months. That's the app development time. If we can push it out quicker, we will. Then we want to start beta testing it. We could probably aim to get 100 businesses on board with that. And then from there, if it's iron out any little flaws in it or any little issues, there's always something. Nothing ever goes 100% first time round. So we'll get feedback. That's an important part too. So we'll probably get 100, 200 businesses on board, and then we'll start asking for their feedback. And then we'll make any changes that are needed from there.
Thank you. I mean, I know a lot of people are going to be listening to this on the recording. So for those that don't really understand what you're actually offering, like I know beyond the basic reduction in fees, but is this like a food delivery service, and then you're just going to do that at a cheaper rate, or like explain it in I say in simplistic terms for anybody else we can share this with to kind of get them excited about the project in itself without kind of weighing them down on too much of the specifics.
Yeah, no problem. So just now, the current business model just now is that if you're sitting in the house, you're with your friends, you've got your apps, you've got Uber Eats, Just Eat, Grubhub, I think it is in America, quite a few of them out there. So the idea is you order your food online, goes to the restaurant, they make the food up, the driver collects it and brings it back to you. But in order to do that, just now these companies are charging huge fees. So we'll follow the same principles, same idea. We're going to use a Web3 format, but we're going to have to try and make it look like a Web2 product because it has to be ease of use for clients. So we will have a back-end process where the businesses can register. They'll go through security checks, then they can upload their menus, their pricing structure, and from another back-end portal, the drivers will be able to register. Now we're already looking at security platforms that basically vet the drivers, and the drivers are obviously going to be self-employed. So the idea is that the food order comes on, the driver gets a notification saying that there's food orders in his area. He goes to the shop, picks up the food and delivers it to the client.
We're like DeFi DoorDash.
Yeah,
Sounds fantastic. I mean, is there going to be complications with any kind of like taxes, or do you guys kind of have that all on lockdown? Like how that's going to be handled?
Yeah, we'll have all that down. We'll obviously go through legal like everyone else, because we're going to be operating a viable centralised business, obviously with a decentralised aspect to it. So we have to be legally compliant when we look at these things, and when we have to pay like the business taxes like everyone else, run it like a proper business, and then filter it back into the project that way.
So a lot of I don't mean to maintain the mic, but while if no one else is talking, a lot of people really like some examples they can wrap their head around. So Mark, since you are our numbers guy here, do you mind saying like basically if someone were to just give some off the wall projections, and I know you said you didn't really want to get into that because you're not trying to overhype it, but you guys tend to undersell possibilities here. So can you make give for example if someone bought one B&B worth, something they can wrap their head worth out of the private sale, or is it private, public? Well, pick whatever one. It doesn't really matter. And then give some number projections that people can kind of see in their head. I was listening, and I think other people maybe, if you can equate that to their initial investment, what they may see in like a year's time, potential ROI. Do you mind doing that, or is that kind of something you don't want to get into?
No, I actually have just.
Mark actually has those numbers.
Well, so I mean, in the example that I provided before,
You had the spreadsheet last night, Mark. You not just read it off the spreadsheet that you sent me. You had it down for 1 BNB and 5 BNB, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've actually got that somewhere else, John. I've got it on another computer. But so in terms of like APY. To give you an idea, with the previous example that I made of that 1,000, basically with 1,000 restaurants, $7,500 coming back to holders, just for revenue on the app at 1,000, that creates a 453% APY on any amount from the private sale, and a 352% APY for pre-sale buys. So,
yes. So I've got it here, Mark, for 1 BNB. So for one BNB on the little numbers that Mark's provided, you would get daily rewards of $3.09, which is a yearly return of $1,100 basically for your $320 investment. So that's a 352% APY on an average investment of $320.
And so for clarity as well, we don't really know what the actual buy and sell volume is, but what John's referring to is just APY off of revenue on the app.
Right. Now, is that affected by token price?
Those figures were based on BNB being 320 at the time of putting that spreadsheet together.
So those are based on, great question. Those are based on those are based on the purchase at either private sale or pre-sale. So the 5 BNB example with the 450 approximate APY is for buying it privately, and the pre-sale is the 350.
Yeah, and the figures were based on fiat-driven prices too. So obviously, the app returns fiat, and then the fiat's converted into ABUSD from there. and this is a secret to this app. The app's not to force crypto onto people, but it's more of a way of giving people a lot of people, this will be their first time using any crypto. So what we're trying to do is, obviously we're rewarding SDX too within the app. So we're trying to create a safe place where people can actually use those crypto rewards and pay for their food and just get used to using it in a safe environment that maybe make them invest in the project as a whole, or even not our project, maybe just come into crypto in general. Because a huge problem in crypto now is this recycled money constantly going from project to project. What we want to try and do is make people believe or make people see that crypto can be safe, used in a safe environment.
Yeah, and the revenue that comes in will be based more on your percentage of holdings as an overall percentage of the circulating token. So it isn't really affected by price, but there could be significant BUSD rewards that come off of just the reward tokenomics of buys and sells on market, and that volume might be dependent on token price somewhat, but this is giving a significant return just on the app revenue once that's live. And if you start to add that to potential volume with what you can expect from a reward token if it's getting utilized significantly, that's where this sort of magic starts to really come up. And if we can add a zero to the number of users in that system, is 10,000 users out of a potential 200 in the UK alone, when you're offering 95% of the service for 10 to 25% of the cost. Is that unrealistic, or is that realistic? That's part of the question, really. Is what kind of penetration can we get into that market, and what kind of a market share can we gather? And some of that will depend on how great the app is that we develop, and our ability to market it and be successful in terms of showing people its value. But we feel very confident on that side of the business because we understand how cash flow works in the food service industry, and frankly, the industry is really suffering right now. So if we can put something in front of people that is a better product that does the majority of the tasks that the restaurants need and doesn't cost them nearly enough, that becomes an abundant system that is adding to their operations, not really hurting them.
And what I would add to that is, between me and Mark, we've probably about 50 years experience in this industry. This isn't just an idea for us. We live in this environment every single day, so we see the challenges that are presented to businesses in this space as a whole. Take the crypto out of the aspect, but blockchain technology and Web3 technology could resolve a huge amount of issues within the hospitality industry. The app's just one of maybe 5 ideas we have that we can utilise technology to improve systems within our industry and obviously generate a revenue stream in the meantime too.
You guys are giving some stellar answers. I appreciate that.
No problem. That's what we're here for. Does anyone get any other questions they would like to ask?
Yeah, I got one.
What's up?
Are you guys still aiming for the same targets that you had from the first launch, as far as B&B raised, what's going to liquidity and all that? Is any of that changed, or is it still the same?
No, well, the reason why we didn't go pink sale this time was so we can control that aspect. We're still trying to hit not as high. We've not went 1,200. If we could hit 600, we'd be over the moon. But the idea of doing this privately is we'll be able to launch. It's the same rules, 51%, 52% of anything raised goes to liquidity straight away. The rest goes to app development. That's the breakdown of all the funds raised, because we just want to get this app built. It's not a case of, both me and Mark work. We want the app done. That's our main focus. We'll set up liquidity pools, move to PancakeSwap, and then the rest of that goes straight to full app development. We've already started trying to build those bridges with different integration companies for payment systems, for security systems within the app. So that's what we're looking to do. If we could hit between 400 and 600 BNB, then we'll be over the moon. And to be fair, we're already well ahead of what we were in the last pre-sale. So we're already in a very good place, even before the advisor starts doing his part.
Very cool. Very cool.
No problem.
Thanks, Mike.
Any other questions?
If no one else is going to speak up, do you mind reiterating how exactly does this incorporate, like what Web3 technology are you utilizing to make this more efficient, and how is this incorporating that? Like, what is it about new technology that you're able to utilize for this app that's making it more efficient, other than just understanding that you're not basically trying to rip the restaurants off, and that's why you think you can have an edge at gaining some of the business? What technologies are you utilizing here?
Well, just the blockchain on its own, it reduces this payment speed. So the whole thing with these apps are you pay the app keeps the money for a fortnight too. So we're basically just becoming a bridge from the client to the business. We're not actually dealing with our money, but through the blockchain, through the tokenomics, we're 4% off it. The client pays the business direct, the client pays the driver direct, and we just facilitate that transaction. So we've still got meetings with the web developers, Web3 developers and things like that. Obviously, these guys are the experts and the professionals. We lay out what we want, and then we task them with a way to go away and build it, basically. But we've got a clear flow chart of what the app has to do, what we need it to do, and how we want to achieve that. We just obviously need these dev teams to obviously go deliver what our vision is now.
So a big selling point is the instantaneous transaction, something you can do within a couple of minutes rather than waiting a few weeks for your money.
Yeah, you think of the world we live in just now, with the living crisis and things like that, cost of living crisis. Businesses really struggle with their cash flow. You know what it's like, constantly buying stock, paying staff, paying bills. If we can produce an app that delivers that money to them instantly, every single transaction, as soon as that client confirms their orders there, business gets their money, the driver gets their money. I think that's a huge selling point to the businesses too, regardless of the lower fees. The fact that they're in control of their own cash flow, it goes in their wallet. We don't handle it, we don't touch it. We just facilitate that bridge.
You said the driver and the businesses are getting paid in fiat of their choice, is that correct? Like they don't have to worry about converting any kind of crypto, that's all done automatically?
It'll get done automatically, they'll get their fiat, our vision is that they have their own wallet within the app too. So like Web2 apps just now, if you go to Just Eat, you have to create an account, that's your wallet. So we envision that it'll be a similar system, only you have a digital aspect to it. So you have maybe, if people paid, like if you were collecting SDX as rewards, you'd have the digital aspects. Now, we are looking at a system that would automatically convert, so the business doesn't have to take the crypto, it would convert it to fiat for them. But that's conversations with dev teams that we have to have. There are systems out there that currently do that, so we're looking to try and integrate them into what we need.
So as far as they're concerned, it's almost just like a reward system, right? So it's almost like gaining points towards whatever you want to use them for, and if they can have them automatically redistributed back into, let's say, a fiat of their choice, so it's something they don't have to worry about. That's plausible.
Yeah, that's basically it. It's, we didn't want to force our crypto onto people, so we decided that we'd give it as a rewards token for buys and sells. So 25% of all the revenue, so say 1% of the 4%, will go back through buying SDX. So it'll be like a buyback and burn idea. And then those reward tokens will get filtered back into the app and handed out to everyone as rewards. And then it's up to them. They can spend it as a currency within the app. You know, they can convert it back to fiat and withdraw their fiat that way. You know, it's completely up to the individual.
So you're saying 25% of the 4% tax that you take on any of the buys. So say individual A. So Frank buys a meal from, Frank buys a meal from Jeff's restaurant. Anyway, all the transactions, everybody's happy. So 1% of this $20, so what, 4%, right? Anyway, so 1% of that gets redistributed to holders of the SDX or everybody that
So,
we
sorry.
have?
Yeah, so say for instance, our fee to the businesses is 4%. So when we break that down to go back to the tokenomics of the project, it works out 1%, so it would be 25% of our takings. So 75% would be converted to BUSD to go back into the project. Then the 25% is ran through buyback and burn, because that will buy the SDX to reward the businesses, the drivers, the app users, and the staff workers. So they'll all get SDX put in their digital wallets within the app.
So you're not actually burning with that 1%, you're kind of redistributing it to everybody that has the app.
Yeah, basically we distribute. Yeah, that's basically what we're doing. We're using that 1% as rewards back into the app. What it also does is this keeps that buy pressure going with SDX. You know, it's constantly got a use case. Even within the app, you can use it within the app to buy your food. So we will be doing burns, obviously, our tokens too, so we'll do them manually.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, so even if you have the app, and even if you're not buying or selling, but a lot of other people are using it, but since you have the app, are you still getting rewards as being an app holder or an app user, so to speak?
Yeah. Yeah, basically, if you have the app,
you get free rewards.
Yeah, basically, that's the vision. If you use the app, and whether you're a business, whether you're a driver, whether you're a worker, you know, you get paid those rewards. You know, you never know when they're going to come in handy. You get a free meal out of it at some point.
Part of that too is, you know, John's mentioned the cost of living crisis. It's an additional way for businesses to kind of incentivize staff, and a lot of what happens in the hospitality industry is around connecting to each other, and everyone's really well connected. Everyone's very well networked in hospitality. So, you know, if you've got an entire restaurant chain that is using this app, and the staff are all collecting rewards that are coming through as through the app, because all the staff have an app as well. That becomes a really unique kind of viral marketing tool for us, because everyone gets really excited about it, and then everyone learns more about it. And for the restaurant, they're getting charged that for the income that I mentioned had that 1% taken out already out of the 4%. So, that 7,500 coming to holders in the example I provided, there would have been 1 out of the 4% had been taken off of there and sent back to, the restaurants, the drivers, and the users as well. So, as a marketing tool,
can you control?
No, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. So, all right, this sounds like this is definitely designated to be used by the more corporate side of things, not the public, right? So it's not the person ordering the food, but it's the person that is creating it and or delivering it. But how do you, are you delegating who is allowed to install this app or utilize this? Because if it's just free reign, something you can download, sort of like a Web2 off of the Play Store, like what kind of blockade do you have from preventing hundreds of thousands of bot accounts to just soak up and dilute those rewards received?
So to be clear, holding the app itself doesn't give you rewards. Using the app for transactions gives you rewards. So if you're a restaurant and you're processing orders, that's what generates that one out of the 4% fee goes to all the people that are in that particular organization. So if you're a staff member at a restaurant, you would have your own app on your phone, and you would get a percentage of the SDX that came back in, and that would get shared out, just similar to how reward programs share out tips at the end of a night in any restaurant all around the world. So it would just be done digitally, and that's where the blockchain comes into effect and is very efficient for us, because essentially it's a massive ledger that handles those transactions very easily. So the way that we're envisioning it is that the restaurant can choose to take a certain amount themselves, or they can have it all go to their staff. A certain percentage goes to the driver, because drivers being fairly compensated in the system is an issue as well. And a certain percentage goes to the user, which is just kind of an exciting piece that, hey, I ordered a pizza and now I have 5,000 SDX as reward tokens in this wallet. So yeah, if people are using the service, then they gain the reward, but otherwise they're not going to be gaining the SDX. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Mark. That's much better.
Yeah, cheers.
Yeah.
So just wondering, anyone else have any questions at this time? Or John, I see you're unmuting, so did you have any things to add to my answer there?
No, I was just unmuting.
I have a question.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Okay. I just have one question. Well, not really a question. It's just an inquiry. When does or have you announced, because I just jumped on, I'm late, sorry. Did you announce when the private sale or pre-sale will begin?
Yep, so obviously we've started collecting people just now. The private sale will look to tie up within the next 14 days. We're running the whitelist side by side with that just now, so we'll get the private sale tied up first, and then we'll look to tie up the whitelist a few days after that. That's the sort of timelines. We're probably looking at about 14 days from now for the private. So I know you just missed that. I'll just recap quickly. So we'll just currently get a dev building a swapper contract just now. It might come as a DApp, or it might just come as a swapper contract address, which I'll personally send to everyone. And then when you get your BUS, when you send your BNB there, you'll get airdropped your tokens on launch, and that'll be 50% on launch with 10% every 10 days afterwards. And there'll be Diamond Hands holders rewards for people that are doing their vesting, so they'll get extra XDX at the end of it.
And we also have all this recorded too, and it will go up onto YouTube, and we'll have a link in Discord and on Telegram as well.
So did you say private is going on for the next 14, or will start in 14 days?
We're expecting it will go. It's basically kind of started now, and we're John's been doing some bookings, but we expect it to be finalized within 14 days.
I mean, are you like accepting BNB for that? Because I know I've talked to him already about that, but I didn't know if that's like, are you receiving the BNB to a lot for that, or are you just kind of getting
we've just
promises
been booking so far, and as John mentioned, as we get that the dev that gets that swap set up, then we'll be posting and connecting with community around it being live and it going, and we'll roll from there.
Thank you, Mark.
So I've spoke to all these privately, obviously in DMs. So once this swap contract comes in, I'll just DM you all the contract, and then that's obviously when you can send over the BNB from there.
One final thing, and then I will stop queuing my mic, I swear. Mark, with the redistribution of rewards from the in-app usage, does that also go to holders?
So the 4%, the 4% comes out of the fee off the gross of whatever the order is. 3% of that goes to the staked project. 1% of it goes back as rewards for users of the app in that system. 3% comes to our system and is broken apart similar to our buy tokenomics. So, for instance, the entire amount on 1,000 restaurants is 24,000. 18,000 of that is what comes to the staked project, and 5% out of the 12%, which is the percentage of buy tokenomics that we have, goes to the holders as BUSD rewards. And then the important thing, and this has come up, is that there's been some concern of, well, how does this large corporation get funded for operations that's going to be running the app and running whatever pieces need to be run? But that's where that money comes for the operations, is that our operations wallet is getting 3% of that, so that creates an operating budget to actually manage that larger app and all the things that are going to be required in marketing and expansion and growth and capitalization. So there is money flowing through that's able to be utilized for running teams within that system as well. But that 5 out of 12% does provide significant returns for the holders. Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, Mark.
So I'm not any final questions. I can just feel free to throw something in the chat, and if not, I think we're probably ready to wrap. It's been just about an hour here, which is great. Thank you. Thanks everyone for all the great questions, and it's been an awesome conversation. Again, this has been recorded, and we'll have a copy of it up in a little bit here to our different socials and so on and so forth. So, John, do you want to wrap it up?
I just want to say thanks, and thanks for all the great questions tonight too. It really helps us get information out there too when people are actually asking questions, instead of us just trying to guess what people want to hear. So, no, thanks for all the questions. It's been amazing.
Appreciate the space, guys, and taking the time.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot for joining, guys. We'll just get this wrapped up now, Mark.
Yeah, we're going to stop right there.